It's a great honor for us to be joined today by Professor Sugata Mitra, who gave us a very inspiring plenary talk earlier today. Thank you very much for joining us, Professor Mitra, and for giving us all your insights. I saw a very excited and enthusiastic crowd in your plenary talk.
Okay, that's good to know.
Okay, so you are one of the things you're very well known for is your Hole in the Wall project. Can you tell us a few things about it, what inspired it, and where it stands today?
Well, that's a 15-year-old experiment now, and it basically involved exposing children to computers with no other instruction. Particularly children who have never seen a computer before and who don't know any English, just to see what they would do with it. And I think the reason why people still find it interesting is because children seem to be able to teach themselves how to use a computer and the internet and enough English to do all of that in a matter of months, provided you leave them alone.
That was one of the things you mentioned quite a few times in your talk, that children learn and children can read and believe in themselves as long as the teacher leaves. You mentioned that a few times.
Well, leaves is a strong word, but I would say as long as the teacher knows how to step back, how and when to step back. Because there are a number of things which children do when they don't see a threat perception. Particularly in creative activity, if you remove all threat, then you find that children will produce very good work. And this is probably the reason why a lot of mothers will come and say to their teachers, but at home he did such a lovely picture. Why isn't he drawing like that in school? And the answer is because he finds school threatening. So it's necessary for the teacher to be sensitive to that and to remove any threat perception.
Another thing you mentioned, and we all found very interesting, was that you said that you have a methodology of I don't know, and your newest methodology was I don't have the foggiest idea. Can you explain that to us a little bit more?
Well, children enjoy it, particularly children below the age of 12. They obviously like having fun. All children do. So they find it quite funny that an adult, grown-up person is asking them a question and then saying, I have no idea of what the answer is. Or if they say, how do we go about finding the answer? And say, I don't know, I have no clue. They, I think, find it very non-threatening. Because then they think that they are going to help me. And often it's genuinely true, because I try and ask them questions to which I actually don't have an answer. And those are the questions that will work the best, because then they will explain the answer to me, or whatever they found, and then I will be genuinely surprised by the answer, because I didn't know. And they can see that in my face, and that's a great reward for them.
Let's move on to another successful moment that you had very recently. You were awarded a TED Prize, and you said in your acceptance speech that you have a very big dream about it. Can you tell us about that dream?
Well, the idea is that there are places on the planet where you just cannot build a good school, a good traditional school. And of course there are many places on the planet in both developed and developing countries where you cannot get a good teacher. So what I'm trying to experiment with is a setup which we won't call it a school, because it isn't really a school. But the popular name for it is a school in the cloud. The idea is that you have almost an unmanned facility which has the presence of teachers only over Skype or the electronic medium. So it has a local adult whose job is health and safety, basically, who is just there as a supervisor. But the children and their learning happens entirely using the cloud, the internet. So hence the name School in the Cloud. And I'm planning to build or experiment with 7 different locations to see how that will work.
It sounds very interesting, and we'll be following it.
Thank you.
If you had to send a message or give a piece of advice to all the teachers watching us right now, what would you tell them? What would you tell all of us?
Trust the children, and if you trust them, you'll get trust back. If you don't trust them, if you mistrust them, then you get mistrust back. So you basically get what you deserve. So to teachers, I would say, step back, sit down, relax, and watch your learners do their job by themselves.
Thank you very much for your amazing plenary talk and the interview you gave to us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.